Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Couch. This is going to be a special one. It's going to be all about remembering the 90s. Do you remember the 90s? Because I sure do. It was one of my personal favorite periods of all time. The community was hopping. Gay villages were growing in every major city in Canada. Clubs, bars, and sex-positive places were everywhere. We were gaining a lot of freedoms and rights. Music was infectious. MuchMusic was growing big. And that's where we start this episode with Canadian television and radio personality Ziggy Lorenc. Ziggy was one of the first female VJs at the advent of music videos on MuchMusic. She also had a show called Life on Venus Avenue, which myself and many people I know remember fondly. So come with me, let's go meet the woman herself, Miss Ziggy. Hello, Ziggy.
Hello. So happy to see you, Antoine.
Nice to see you. I loved your style on the show. I loved your giggle. You had an adorable personality.
Thank
you.
So
it's a pleasure to
That's
have you.
That's very kind. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to tell you something before we start.
Get going.
And that is, my whole career is because of gay men. Because as I was growing up, my friends were all gay men. And I was 16, 17, and they would help me dress. They would tell me how to speak. They would tell me how to put my makeup on. They were my fan club, and they pushed me into the limelight. And some of them are no longer here. And I miss them. I think of them every single day of my life. I'm very indebted, especially to Bobby Logan and Timmy Swan. They were two of my best friends. My hairdresser for a million years, John Ciccone, who's been a close friend of mine for so many years. You know, that period of time right before the 90s, we lost a whole generation of men. This was like the Civil War. And these are men who woke up every morning and made the world a beautiful place to live.
What a beautiful start to the show.
And I just wanted to be very clear about that.
Thank you. The 90s, how was it back then around MuchMusic?
Well, I think it was the peak of the music video era. And we had the peak of Madonna, who set the tone for everyone. I mean, her videos were just incredible. We held our breath until they came out. And to see what she was wearing, what she was doing with her hair. Was she going to be Spanish this time? Was she going to sing La Isla Bonita? Or was she going to do the voguing? You never knew what was up. And of course, there's also Paula Abdul, who was at her peak, dancing with animated characters. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yeah, on the stairs.
And it was a time of great fun and great experimentation.
Okay, you said fun. So it was a fun era, but what do you think the 90s had as a cultural impact on society?
I think as a cultural impact, huge, because you had so many different genres coming up each and every year. The 90s were such a mishmash of musical styles. And then you had the grunge period, remember that?
Yeah.
You had Beverly Hills 90210, where all the girls were wearing lingerie as outerwear.
Yep. Thanks to Madonna.
Yeah, the beginnings of hip-hop.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Big-time hip-hop music.
Life on Venus Avenue. Whose idea was that?
Well, the idea was mine, and I took the words L-O-V-E. I took love. Life on Venus Avenue. And I had a new house and it had no furniture, and I said, everybody just come here and we'll shoot here. I just wanted to parlay the music videos into something else. And I thought about Cosmopolitan magazine. I grew up with that magazine. It taught me a lot of things. And the editor, Helen Gurley Brown, she said that every woman should make her own way in this world, have a career, and have an apartment. So that was my whole raison d'etre for working. And I love the style of the magazine where there was like a quiz, and there was astrology, there's a feature, and I thought maybe I could do that with a TV show. So we rented the furniture for
the show was shot at your house?
At my house.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And so it was very fun.
Okay.
And, you know, one time we bought a fountain that we stuck in the middle of the living room. Sometimes the furniture was taken outside and put on the lawn. So my neighbors were like, what is going on? It was really a lot of fun. But I had good people that I worked with.
You worked with good people? Nice.
Yeah,
that's
really
always
did.
important. Do you think that show would play well in 2015?
I don't know. I don't know if it would or not. That's a very good question because I have no clue.
To me, it was 90s. We were so much more fun, happy. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because you know what? They would give us $25 and a box of crackers and say, "Now here's your budget," but you could do something with it. It's not how much money you have; it's what you do.
Do you think the 90s were simpler times, or?
I think they were very fat and sassy times. Economically, everybody was doing well.
As a video jockey, how did you decide what to play? What music did you love? What artists of that era did you like to work with or play their music?
Well, it's interesting because I like the really campy music, very campy. And when I was working, I didn't take myself very seriously. I tell you, I'm a pansy deep at heart. So fun to me is number one, and that kind of showbiz glitz. So I thought that what I would do with my programming, I play the songs that I like. Okay. And I was certain if I liked them, somebody else would. Also, I would always end the show with a Madonna song. It was my telepathic communication. So I'd try to make a point with a Madonna song, and then if I got a letter or a phone call and somebody said, I know what you're doing, I'd be really happy because it's putting telepathic communications through the show.
I don't remember that. I gotta go back and no.
I know.
You always ended up with a Madonna.
I always did. Yeah, I always put Madonna in because I just thought she was great. Hit and miss sometimes.
Did you ever meet her?
No, which is very strange because maybe it's best. Because I was such a huge Madonna fan, and I was doing all the Madonna-thons at MuchMusic. They would always take me on. But you know what? Maybe as an interview or meeting, it would have not been very great. Yeah, and maybe she wouldn't have liked me, right? So
I doubt it.
They paired her up with Tony, Master T.
Yeah.
And that was a very good idea. I was really upset.
You've never seen her walk through the studios?
I did.
You did?
I did. I saw her in the 90s, and it was during her Ray of Light period, which I liked.
I love that.
And she was a little doll. I mean, she's about 5 feet tall with these tiny little wrists and perfect skin, perfectly translucent white skin, tiny little ankles. Amazing. Cher. Come on. Right,
You said the name of my hero.
Oh my goodness.
You met her?
Well, in a strange way, of course, because I was taking a break on the patio and she pulled up in a town car, got out, and I was the only one out there who saw her. And I went, Cher, right? And she turned around and she smiled and said, hi, I love you, Cher. And she's like, hi. So we did it like Romeo and Juliet.
You're making a lot of gay men happy today.
I was so happy to see her because she's the best, come on.
I love her. We're going to take a little break now. We're going to join guest reporter Christopher Karras outside on the set, and we'll be back.
Hi, my name's Christopher Karras, and I'll be interviewing Ian McDonald at Erotico on Church. So as a 90s kid, I would love to know what was exciting in the 90s.
Well, in Toronto, we had a lot more nightclubs than we do now. And it was interesting because you were able to go out and meet other people. A lot of those dance clubs closed down in the late 80s, late 90s. And that kind of stopped a venue for people to go out and socialize and learn about other people and sneak in from small towns to go to a gay club and see other people. Now it's the internet, but you don't get that interaction. You don't get that personal interaction.
What are the accomplishments we've seen in the 90s?
Well, in the 90s, we had a lot of political stuff going on. We still had people dying of AIDS. I had a friend die 2 weeks after his 23rd birthday. So there was a lot of things that went on in the community. There was Fruit Cocktail, which was at the Elgin Winter Garden Theatre. We did shows at Ryerson, and that was bringing the community together. You would have actors and singers and dancers. It was a variety show that raised money for different charities within the community. And there was a lot of coming together when there was an issue. And that's something that still happens today, but a lot of the kind of core people are gone.
What's different from now and then?
Well, politically, we've come a long way in Ontario and in Toronto, certainly. We had, in the mid-90s, Bill 167, which was, some say, brought Bob Rae down, where they were going to extend benefits and adoption benefits for same-sex couples. And the Conservatives under Lynn McLeod supported it and then flip-flopped, which became the key word, flip-flop. And Bob Rae at the last minute said he would allow a free vote on it. It was defeated. But since then, political activists, including Reverend Dr. Brent Hawkes, stood up and said, you know what, we have to keep moving forward. And things slowly have changed. We now have same-sex marriage. I've lived in different parts of the world, and I still say Toronto is the best place to live.
Thank you, Ian. We'll be right back.
And we're back, everyone.
Hello.
It's been a while since we saw you on TV, so we got a bit of catching up to do.
Yes, does anyone remember?
Of course we remember.
Hello, it's been a while.
Been a while.
I didn't. I did not go back to television. You probably noticed. Yeah, I just stopped. I stopped in 1999, 2000.
Why?
There's a big revolution at the company. It was taken over, and so the man that made MuchMusic, Moses Znaimer.
Are you related
gone.
to Moses Znaimer? Let me stop
I
you there.
am not related to Moses Znaimer.
Everybody that I've ever talked to you about you said, is she his daughter? Is she his niece?
I am not his daughter. He would take great offense to that one, the youngster that he is. Also, I am not his goddaughter, and I'm not his sister. So now that we've cleared that up, right?
Okay,
No
so there was a
relation.
changes in MuchMusic?
They're very much so. It's a revolution. And so, you know, slowly all the people that you're telling me about, all the VJs, one by one, they were let go. It seems like people were retiring at 35, at 40, too young. And, you know, of course, the new people didn't want us guys. We were handpicked by the man who started it all. It's a very, very funny industry. And so everyone went off and they did something else. And did I want to do TV again? Would it be the same? No, it would not be the same, because those people were magical. It was a very special time, and you can't repeat it.
Where did you grow up? Tell us a bit about growing up.
Antoine, I grew up in Toronto. I was born here. My parents were Polish immigrants, so I guess I'm a true Torontonian.
Why did you choose show business?
Wow. Well, I don't know, because no one in my family was in entertainment at all. Okay. My background are farmers, potato farmers. Oh, and my mother wanted to be a singer, though. And so if I wanted to take ballet, because I was a dancer first, studied ballet with the Russians, and I wanted to be a ballerina first, I wanted to be a singer second, and I did achieve that. At 13, I had no one to help me. Nobody knew anything about show business. We had the yellow pages. So I scrolled through the yellow pages, the phone book, and I picked my agent. I phoned them up, would you have a look at me? So I was doing modeling, catalog modeling at 12 and 13. I had an agent. Then I had another agent at 15 because I wanted to act. Then I went to singing. I was on the road with a band. And I traveled through Canada with that. And when I came back from that, I phoned up Moses Znaimer, who I met at a party. He's the president of City TV. I said, hello, you met me for 5 seconds at the party. My name is Ziggy. Do you need a weather girl? No, he didn't.
So how did it happen that you got into MuchMusic?
Well,
after the first initial one?
There was no MuchMusic yet. It was City TV.
Oh, you started at City, right?
Yes, I did. That was another part-time job. I was answering the telephone. People would come and talk to me. Everybody in the company, we talk. And so they'd say at lunchtime, if I was having lunch, do you want to be in a commercial? I said, oh, please, I'm eating my sandwich. They said, come on, come on. So I started doing little commercials for City TV. Okay. Then I got into news, so I did community reporting. And then music videos slowly came around, so I did little reports for a show called Toronto Rocks. Do you remember it? It was shot on the 3rd floor in a closet. Welcome to my world. That's what it was like. And that parlayed into MuchMusic. So Moses Neimer went to get the license in 1982, 83. He got the license. And so then, of course, they needed content, but my show, MuchMusic, was the first on regular cable TV. So anyways, that content of MuchMusic got me onto MuchMusic, which were 4-hour shifts every day. And that, my friend, is the story of my life.
That's the birth.
Life-changing.
I saw a clip of you on YouTube. You were in your kitchen, you were talking about collecting vintage stuff. What's that story there?
Oh yeah, I'm not a hoarder. Just want to say, not a hoarder, but I have a lot of stuff. I collected clothing, designer clothing, Halston, porcelain. I collected furniture, knickknacks, crazy plaster things, velvet paintings, Jesus Christ on the cross done in shells.
What inspires you?
Well, I think right now what inspires me is stopping for a moment, because I think everybody is moving so fast, they don't have a chance to even tap into themselves to know who they are or what they want, or maybe do nothing at all. I mean, sometimes you need to do nothing. You need to just lay down, rest, eat the foods you want to eat, watch cheesy television. Stop.
What makes you sad, Ziggy? What makes Ziggy sad?
Oh, what makes me sad? I think just losing the people that I've loved, you know, and my mom, she was really huge in my life. And
you lost your mom? Sorry.
But she's great. And she was the one that pushed me and, you know,
Did
just
they?
said, she did. She's like, do something, work. She said, go out with the people. She said, go with the people. And I was wondering, what does she mean? Go be with the people, right? And what she meant was that when you're with people, you're not thinking about yourself. You're thinking about other people. And then you have a full heart. Now I got it.
We're going to take a little break. We're going to join our lovely reporter, Kat Grant, and we will be back after that.
Hi everyone, it's Kat Grant. I don't think I have one playlist on my iPod that doesn't have something from the 90s. We loved our divas. We danced to Madonna, Mariah, Whitney. It was also an era of a comeback of sorts for boy groups. There was Boys to Men, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, but don't let that fool you, because the women's groups were just as phenomenal. There was Destiny's Child, TLC. If you didn't like the club scene, there was something special for you. Grunge, hard rock, but unpretentious. It wasn't glamorous. It was dressed down and told you exactly what was wrong with society, like good rock and roll should. I think I will always love the 90s.
Hi there, I'm Lorenzo Pagnotta, and I'm here at Flash on Church in Toronto's Gay Village, where I'll be meeting with Brent Simpson, Director of Operations. Thank you so much for taking some time to speak with me today, Brent.
You're welcome.
So for me, the 90s was about really great R&B music, weird candy like Nerds and Sour Soothers, and awkward like center hair parts, which I attempted to do today. But I wanted to ask you, Brent, what you remember about the 90s and what the 90s meant to you.
For me, the 90s was sneaking into concerts to see Images in Vogue play, piling in as many friends in your car, including the trunk, heading to the drive-in theater, and enjoying the night with your friends at the theaters and concerts.
When I heard that On the Couch was going to do a segment on the 90s, I really wanted to be a part of it because I had some great times in the 90s. What I remember most about the 90s, it was for the first time gay men and women were able to run their own clubs. Gay men had invested in businesses and were now creating the clubs, putting the entertainment in and hiring the staff, which was totally different from the mid-'80s when we were basically in straight clubs with straight people waiting on us. And it was a total change in the freedom we had in the 90s that we hadn't had before. My first really big club was Club Colby's. And Club Colby's was like the place where a lot of people came out. And as I'm older now and people come to this club, Flash on Church, they always reminisce about the great old days of Colby's and how Colby's was the first gay bar they walked into, and they were surprised to see other gay people and lights. And in Colby's we had strippers and we had drag queens, we had dancing, we had a smorgasbord of entertainment for everybody. And it was a coming out place for a lot of the gay community. Well, Remington's was an offshoot of Colby's. At Colby's we didn't have the adult entertainment license, so we were frequently hassled by the police for taking our clothes off when we shouldn't be. So when the Remington's, which is an adult entertainment parlor, came up for sale, it was sort of a natural thing for Colby's to invest in Remington's and create the first gay strip club in the city of Toronto. It was unique. We opened it up down at Yonge and Gerrard, which has never been the best part of Yonge Street. But people flocked to Remington's in the 90s, and for the first time we got to see naked men and feel quite comfortable. I'm George Pratt, and I'm the owner of Flash on Church.
What do you think are the biggest differences between the club scene in the 90s and today?
Well, coming from Vancouver's club scene and Toronto's club scene, I've noticed a lot of changes with how many of the bars lately are closing down. Whether it's in the gay village or just around the regular streets, we're getting a lot busier, but a lot of places are shutting down lately compared to the 90s where more places were opening up.
Thanks very much for having us here today, Brent.
My pleasure.
That's Brent, Director of Operations here at Flash on Church in Toronto. And now we go back to you, Antoine.
Welcome to On the Couch, starring Antoine.
I've got my helper. We're gonna start wrapping up the show. We're going to do some quick questions. And let's start with, what's your favorite romantic movie?
Notting Hill.
I love it. Totally.
I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah. Your favorite romantic song?
September in the Rain by Dinah Washington.
Sweet. Your favorite romantic novel?
Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald.
What would be your perfect romantic date? If you imagine a romantic date, what would be a perfect one?
Can we fly somewhere?
Yeah, sure. Where would that go?
Probably Italy, probably Rome. Fly to Rome, and
have dinner on a boat. Yeah.
Eat by the Spanish Steps somewhere in June.
Oh my God!
See, I even have the month.
You've got it lined up. What's your favorite flower?
I have several.
Okay.
Peony.
That's
the peony.
Yeah, that's a sweet one. And if I ask you a few words that sum up the 90s, would your answer be?
Fun, brief, sassy, and that would be it.
Okay.
Brief.
And with that, we're kind of done.
Oh.
You were an incredible figure of the 90s. You have had an impact on Canadian scene, on TV, and we really appreciate having you and having you be part of that.
I want to thank you very much.
I want to hug you.
How nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And all the best to everybody.
Hope you enjoyed your trip down memory lane with us. Join us next time for another great episode of On the Couch.